An announcement today by President Biden. He has ordered the release of 50 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to ease current economic pressures and try to bring down that sharply rising price of gasoline, which has alarmed so many Americans. We're joined by Rachel Scott and Yahoo finance reporter Alexis Christoforous. Welcome to you both. Rachel, first, this release by the United States, 50 million barrels of oil, is being done in parallel with other major energy-consuming countries, China, India, Japan, Korea, South Korea, and the United Kingdom. So how much is this going to impact gas costs?
Yeah, well, Terry, there's a question of how much and when. We heard from President Biden, who spoke just moments ago here at the White House. He says that this will not be an overnight fix. Experts that we have been talking to here at ABC News tell us that they expect gas prices to come down between 5 cents to 15 cents over the course of the coming days and the coming weeks. But many experts say that this is simply putting a Band-Aid over a very long-term problem. And so obviously missing the rush here for Thanksgiving with so many people traveling between today and tomorrow for their Thanksgiving dinner plans. And there's questions about whether or not this is actually going to stick around and impact Americans until Christmas. The president today not answering any of our questions on that.
And Alexis, more broadly, how much of a difference is this move going to make in easing those supply chain pressures? I mean, oil, one aspect of the choking of the supply chains around the world, and could it then bring down the prices of other goods and help consumers? Do you think the dots can be connected here?
Yeah, unfortunately, you can try to connect the dots, but I think at the end of the day, this is going to have a minimal effect on prices, even prices at the pump. And if we do see prices come down, Terry, it's probably going to be short-lived. Inflation has really emerged the biggest threat to President Biden's presidency and also to the Democratic legislative agenda. Gas prices are a big part of why inflation is so high right now. They've more than doubled in just the past year. Heating oil now at a 7-year high. So the White House has been under intense pressure to do something, anything, to show the American people that they're trying to bring prices lower. So today we saw President Biden do one of the few things he can do, and that is tap into these strategic petroleum reserves. Perhaps the bigger win here for President Biden that not a lot of people are talking about is the fact that he got China to go along with this plan. So this is a consortium of nations that are going to be releasing a bunch of oil onto the market. The problem is it's going to take a while to trickle down to you and me at the gas pump, probably a good 2 to 3 weeks. And when it does happen, it will probably be short-lived.
So at least looking like he's doing something, because, Rachel, between yesterday's announcement that Fed Chair Jerome Powell is going to stay in his post, today's announcement trying to communicate that the president is going to help with the price at the pump, Biden is clearly putting the economy at the top of his agenda. The latest ABC News Washington Post poll shows that 70% of Americans view the state of the economy negatively, and it is an iron law of presidential politics that when gas prices go up, presidential approval ratings go down. So what's the White House strategy here?
Yeah, well, I could tell you, Terry, from talking to White House sources that the economy is top of mind here. They are eager, desperate to show that they have a handle on inflation, and they know they're looking at these numbers from our latest poll. You mentioned it, 70% of Americans said the economy is in bad shape. Only 39% approving how the president's handling it. That's down 13 points from last spring. And even more, about half of Americans overall blame the president for the fast rising inflation. And so the president obviously eager to get out in front of this. He's looking for a way to tackle this. As it was mentioned, this is one of the few things that he actually can do. But some experts raising some concerns here about the precedent that this sets, calling this simply a slippery slope. We have seen this done in the past, tapping in to the reserve, but only for disruption. One expert saying that now this may cause others to use this politically to benefit them.
And Alexis, the president is pointing to low unemployment, relatively, certainly way down from where it was in the pandemic. He says he wants to be remembered as the jobs presidency. A lot of people aren't going back to work, though. And how do you weigh the concern Americans have about inflation, which can be very demoralizing? I lived through the last big inflation in this country. The president gets blamed, but what can he do about it, really?
Again, he doesn't have a lot of tools, Terry. Perhaps one of the biggest tools is his nomination of the next Fed chairman. And we know that that's going to be Jerome Powell, and he should breeze through that nomination. So at least for the economy and for investors, they know what they're getting in Jay Powell. It probably means, easy monetary policy for longer. But at some point, interest rates are going to have to move up. And if inflation is not transient, something that President Biden and Fed Chair Powell keep saying it is, if it's going to stick around for longer, that will most likely move up the Fed's timeline to raise interest rates. It could happen, as early as the middle of next year. And I think Wall Street is trying to jockey for position in anticipation. You mentioned the labor issue. Another big reason why inflation is such a problem right now is we have labor shortages. And there is very little the president can do to incentivize folks to get back to work. We know all that stimulus that both the Fed and the government was pumping into the economy during the height of the pandemic has gone away now. And so it seems as though inflation, we've seen it not be friendly to other presidents like Ford and Carter. And President Biden is trying not to have history repeat itself and doing all that he can to at least, at the very least, make the appearance that his presidency is doing all it can for the American public.
And it is, as you point out, he has renominated Fed Chair Jerome Powell to continue at the helm of the Fed. The Fed has just poured a gargantuan amount of money into the economy to try to keep it afloat. And unwinding that, there are real risks there, aren't there? I mean, what would that look like? What's the downside, do investors see, of the Fed beginning to go back to being a normal central bank as opposed to really the prop for the entire economy that it's been?
We haven't seen a really normal Fed in quite some time, right, Terry, just because of what's been happening in the world and with the pandemic over the past 2 years. The Fed, though, has very clearly stated how it wants to unwind all of that stimulus it's pumped into the economy. It's going to start doing it this month, and it's in a very orderly fashion. So believe it or not, Wall Street's pleased to see the way the Fed is doing this. They want the economy to be able to stand on its own 2 feet. What's really going to test the economic recovery, I think, is going to be when interest rates start to rise. They're going to rise incrementally, but it means that it's going to be more expensive to get a home mortgage. It's going to be more expensive to get a loan for a car, or credit card interest rates are going to move up. And that could be the thing. That, combined with higher prices for everything from groceries to gasoline, could be the thing that starts to pump the brakes on the economic recovery.
A real tense moment for the economy. And Rachel Scott, Alexis Christoforous, thanks very much for helping us out with it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.